Very good evening to one and all present here. My name is Diya Dasgupta, and I've secured an All India rank of 207 in the UPSC CSE 2023 examination. I hope that I am audible to one and all present here. At the very onset, I'd like to give a brief introduction about myself, other than my name and my rank. So I graduated from National Law University, Odisha, and I completed my BA LLB degree honors from NLU Odisha. For that, I had to write CLAT, and I was very keen on one fact and one aspect and that was very clear for me in my 11th and 12th grade itself, that I really wanted to become a lawyer before anything else. Hence, I wrote CLAT and I got through CLAT and I was allotted NLU Odisha as my college. Thereafter, during the 5 years of my law school, there wasn't at least in the first 3 years of my law school, there wasn't any imminent motivation or imminent urge to pursue the civil services, but something changed along the lines, and I'll tell you what. क्या हुआ था कि I think that was the fourth year of my law school, the end of my fourth year. So law school, when you do it right after your high school, you do it for 5 years. You have 10 semesters in law school. So ये शायद से 8th semester की बात है. हमारे कॉलेज में पानी खत्म हो गया था, कॉलेज नहीं, गर्ल्स हॉस्टल में पानी खत्म हो गया था फॉर द सम वाटर क्राइसिस सिचुएशन व्हिच इज गोइंग ऑन, एंड वी girls had to go all the way from the girls hostel to the boys hostel and fetch water from there, and there was no lift in the girls hostel, and my room was in the 4th floor, and so I had to take the water, climb up all the flights of stairs till the 4th floor and store the water in my room. तो उस टाइम पे मैंने ना क्या किया, उड़ीसा में वाटर क्राइसिस के बारे में थोड़ा पढ़ने का कोशिश किया, एंड आई जस्ट स्टार्टेड गूगलिंग इट, एंड आई फाउंड आउट at the then DM of the Mayurbhanj district at that point in time, through his ingenuity and his innovative thinking, had facilitated the supply of water in a village which did not even have electricity. Now that was a remarkable feat. Imagine the amount of creativity that goes into it. आपने ऐसा feat बनाया through which एक village जहाँ पे electricity नहीं है, वहाँ पानी का supply आपने facilitate कर दिया just by following normal laws of physics, and that gave me the motivation to imagine the immense potential that this job can have. That was almost the end of my 4th year of law school, and by the time I was in my 10th semester, I knew that I really wanted to pursue the civil services, because of which मेरे को एक प्री प्लेसमेंट ऑफर बोलते हैं कॉलेज में, पीपीओ भी मिला था from one of the tier 1 law firms, and I had to turn it down because by the time I got the offer, in my mind I was mentally prepared that I want to pursue the civil services. This was in late 2018. 2019 I started my preparation, and 2019 was my first attempt. 2019 I could not clear prelims by a margin of 5-6 marks. I knew that I had it in me, so I started preparing again. And then I had very poignantly chosen it's a very common question I get. I'm a lawyer by training, but my optional was political science and international relations. So बहुत clear cut decision था वो भी मेरे लिए, because I had studied BLLB, so I had already studied a lot of political science topics in law school itself. I was also very interested in international relations because school college में मैंने बहुत सारा MUN competitions कर रखा था. So overall it was a clear-cut choice for me that I wanted to study and at least take up political science, international relations, PSIR as my optional. And then in 2020, which was the COVID year, that was my second attempt, and I cleared prelims, I cleared mains, and I went up till the interview stage. And unfortunately, that was my second attempt. I went up till the interview stage. Where I could not find my name in the final list, and those time prelims were just 5 days away. That was one of the biggest, a wrong decision that I had made, because I had taken that year's 2021 prelims, and I ideally should not have taken up that prelims, primarily because if you feel that prelims is a challenging area for yourself, then without adequate preparation, जैसे मेरे को लगता है, आज तक मेरे को ये लगता है, out of the 3 stages of the exam, prelims is the trickiest and the most challenging stage of the exam. So I should not have ideally taken prelims there, and that was the only year जहाँ पे in between, when I was working hard for prelims, but वो नहीं हो पाया था because of just 3 days. Then 2022, the I had cleared the general cutoff in the GS prelims by about 12 marks. My score was somewhere around 100 that year. The cutoff was 88, but I missed out because of CSAT. By just 2 marks, so I had gotten 64 instead of getting 66. So उस year 2022 में prelims रुक गया, and then finally in 2023, and that was another year because there was a pressure from family. My family does not come from a civil services background, and then they all parents look out for our interests, right? So they were also very keen and telling me that okay, now you should transition back to law. But then I had faith in myself. My parents also had faith in what I believed, and hence I took another attempt. Alongside that, 2023 attempt was a very crucial year in my life because I completed my LLM, that is Masters in Law from Jindal Global Law School. And alongside that, I was also working because I'll talk about the importance of Plan B. Especially after you've given 2 to 3 attempts, Plan B becomes extremely important in order to have sanity, in order to be, calm and शांति रख के आप एग्जाम कर पाओ, आप पढ़ाई कर पाओ, उसके लिए आई थिंक प्लान बी इज इम्पोर्टेंट, एंड आई विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट प्लान बी. सो ओवरऑल दिस वाज 2023 was a very hectic year because, as I said, मैं masters कर रही थी. Alongside that, I was working in order to support myself financially. I was working at the Center for Child in Law, which is a research center housed in National Law School, Bangalore. And alongside that, I was also writing my exam. So overall, this was my last year. And then by God's grace and hard work and blessings of parents and others, all other well-wishers have secured All India Rank 207. So this was briefly about my UPSC journey that I wanted to talk to you about. So overall, this was my fourth proper attempt that I had done, and if you account that one attempt where I just had just 5 days to study, so it was my official fifth attempt. But the fourth attempt that I had studied the way you're supposed to study for this exam and write it, right? So overall, this is what I had to tell about myself and my UPSC journey. I was given a list of questions which I should be perhaps throwing light upon, जो शायद से जनरल पॉपुलेशन के पास यही सारे क्वेरीज रहते हैं, एंड आई ट्राई टू एड्रेस दोस क्वेरीज. एंड अलोंगसाइड दैट आई एनकरेज ऑल ऑफ यू, अगर आपको कोई डाउट है किसी भी एरिया में, स्पेशली दैट अभी 5-6 दिन में प्रीलिम्स हैं, प्लीज फील फ्री टू ड्रॉप इन क्वेश्चंस हियर so that I can take up those questions and clarify those doubts for you. Right? So before we go ahead, there are a few questions which have already come in the comment section. The first question is, आपको motivation कहाँ से मिला था, ma'am? So as I told you, my motivation was not any one specific person, but it was a pure incident related motivation. And मेरे कुछ दोस्त कॉलेज में भी prepare कर रहे थे एग्जाम के लिए. So I think peer group, having a very good peer group helps a lot, to succeed in life. And मेरे को लगता है कि काफी हद तक मेरे दोस्तों ने, मेरे peer group ने मेरे life के major important decisions को influence कर रखा है positively, that is. So I think overall that is one area. So no one fixed source of motivation, but as I told you, I narrated an incident that had happened at law school, and that was one of the fueling factors for me to look up what civil services is and what is the potential that it harbingers, and what's the potential that it can have for an individual, for the society at large. PYQ कैसे एनालाइज करना चाहिए, मैम? PYQ एनालिसिस, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट प्रीलिम्स PYQ एनालिसिस. सो मैंने क्या किया था, लास्ट 13 years के क्वेश्चन पेपर्स उठा लिए थे, एंड अगेंस्ट एवरी क्वेश्चन आई रेड एवरी क्वेश्चन, एंड अगेंस्ट एवरी क्वेश्चन आई हैड लेजिटली रिटन डाउन द सब्जेक्ट एरिया एंड द थीम दैट द क्वेश्चन केम फ्रॉम. उसके बाद मैंने लिटरली काउंटिंग किया था कि हर एक सब्जेक्ट एरिया से कितने क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं. फ्रॉम दैट इट वाज अ वेरी क्लियर एनालिसिस दैट economy, environment and polity have the maximum number of questions that are coming for prelims. Then for every subject area, which were the sub themes from which questions were coming. For instance, in polity, बहुत सारे questions parliament chapter से आते हैं, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy and preamble से questions आते हैं, right? So मैंने वो लिख के रखा था. So for every subject, I knew which were the most important areas that I was supposed to focus on, and based on the questions, जो content static book में वो तो है, एंड अदर देन दैट उन्होंने कैसे क्वेश्चन फ्रेम किया था, तो मैंने वो फिगर आउट कर लिया था कि व्हाट शुड बी द फॉरवर्ड रिसर्च कि इसके बाद और क्या पूछ सकते हैं. जैसे in certain of my talks I've given this example. I feel that groundwater is an important sub theme under the broad theme of environment, under the broad subject area of environment.